Hey everyone, welcome to Archer's Garage, and in this video we're going to be working on some basic maintenance for some of these old Craftsman machines. But we're going to be working on the rear axles today and servicing them. But this video is basically applicable to any tractor that you need to service. So in this series, right, we're going to be doing servicing on a lot of different stuff on tractors. But this is important. We need to be able to take these rear tires off and make sure that they come off, because you have to be able to access these areas if you want to work on the transmission. If you have a problem, maybe a flat tire and the tire is really bad, you want to put new tires on. And if you can't get the rim off, right, you have a big problem. So we're going to work on one of these old machines here. This is an example of one. This is an older Craftsman. The one that we're going to look at today is an LT1000, but this again is applicable to any tractor really. And we're going to take the tires off and we're going to struggle doing it, and hopefully you'll be able to get yours off. And here's some tips and tricks on how to do it on this particular tractor in this video, right? I'm going to show you what I went through to get the tire off, to get the tire and rims off of the axles, the axle shafts in the back. And that's very important. So you want to get it off, you want to be able to service it, you want to be able to clean them, you want to be able to grease them, and you want to be able to get them on and off and put them back on again. So stay tuned and let's find out what I do. Okay, so now we're up to the next step. If you can't get it off like that, is when they get older, like this tractor is older, right? I'll look up the year in a little bit, but this tractor is a little older, so these caps are in good shape. We don't want to ruin them. So I got some lubricant behind it, and that's part of the battle. And the next step, you can use a hair dryer. I have a heat gun here that I'm going to use. We want that heat gun to just heat up, just to soften the rubber a little bit. All right, and then we can either we'll try using this tool or this, or we might just try to grab it, right, with a rag and just try to grab it. Now you see, this is really hard, right? So the plastic gets hard. We're going to soften it. We don't want to burn it. Don't melt it. Let's give it time. Make it hot. That'll make it flexible. All right, let's see what happens. First, we're going to try grabbing it, right, with the rag or gloves. Yeah, it's still a little. It's trying. Right, get a little hotter. Yeah, this one's older, so it's stuck on there. All right, let's try with our pick now. Yeah, she almost came off. She's trying. We don't really want to damage it yet. She's trying to go. Yeah, she's definitely stuck on there. She's hot, but might want to get a pair of gloves. If you can pinch it, there you go, see? Just pinch it and come off. Now I recommend gloves. See how rusty it was in there, right? So water's been trapped. There's no reason why it was stuck. You can just grab your pair of gloves, right? Leather gloves or something, and pinch it. Pinch it with a few fingers and then pull it off. I'd say this, you could use this. I would wrap tape around it, masking tape or something. This sometimes does it. It just grabs it. It's enough. But, this one's getting a little worn. But that's one way to do it, guys. All right, so we're going to remove this here. All right, let's get some of our lubricant on that. And we're going to go in there and we're going to get that out. So that all that is there is just Let me get a screwdriver for that. I'll be right there. Put a screwdriver in here. Just keep your finger near it. And you want to make sure this one's not on and properly. This tang should be kind of in there if it fits. Sometimes they do, and it's better because it'll stay on better. So there's your C-clip. This tang should be in this groove, right, in this slot, if it fits, right? Most of the time they do, but it's not always the case, okay? Now we've got access to, right, now we have access to the shaft, and you can see it's pretty naggy in here, right? This one, let's make sure we can get it off. And so the reason for doing this is periodically you need to get in here and service this and get some grease on it. Now, if you haven't had the machine before, if it's new to you, you definitely want to come in here. So if you're servicing, and you can charge for this, right? You can charge for, this is part of your tune-up. Let's give it a tug. If it doesn't come off, there's other things to do that we can do. So let's just see. We might be able to get a little bit more, especially up in here. And that doesn't look right. Look, that's not, that shouldn't be off like that. So there could be something going on there. Let's just keep giving it a tug and wobbling it. It wants to go. All right, so if it doesn't want to go, we'll have to try another method. Now, let me tool up and I'll show you the next step when they're a little bit cranky. And just let that lube set in there. I'm going to keep putting a little bit more in. Let that set in there, and we'll be back in a minute. We're going to try the next thing when they're a little cranky. Now, I have an air hammer, and there actually is a small hole there, but you may want to make it bigger. But as long as you can hold it, you don't want to damage the edges by slamming it with a hammer, and then you'll never get it off. Okay, it's going. Yeah, this one needs to be a little bit bigger. I'm just pulling on the tire this way, you know, away from the machine as it vibrates. All right, let's see. We want to stay away from the edge because you'll kick up a burr real fast. It's coming. Here it comes. All right, that's off. You see how bad it is in here. Now, I need to get some jack stands on this, and I'm going to put some underneath here so we can get in there and work comfortably. But you can see how bad it is. So we have another washer. There should be a key here, and there's no key on this. All right, so we're missing a key. So we got to get a shaft key on that. There's another washer here, and then there's some debris. So we got to go find a shaft key. If I'd known, I would have ordered one. Hopefully I have one. Should. We'll check to see if it's inside the tire in a minute. And we got to clean that up. We got to do the other side too. I do not see the key on this. Yeah, I know it's in there. It's in there. Hold on. I want to make sure you have that. That's it here. It's a mess in there. We got to get all that cleaned out. All right, so I'm going to take off the other one, guys, and then we're going to come back in with a wire wheel. We're going to clean all this stuff up. We want to get some chain wax in that. But before I do that, we want to get chain wax in there and a few other spots. But before I do that, again, I want to put this on some jack stands so that it's safer and I can bang on it more. And I just wanted to show you this. And then we're going to go to the other side because we actually have a part that we're missing. So we need to take a look at that. We'll be back in a bit.
More moments later.
I'm going to take the air out of the tire just in case it starts to get real hot because it'll expand and you don't want your face in this. So it's a little over 15 pounds, so it's actually this one seems like it's doing well. We're going to take the valve out. We're going to start off with just warming it. Just keep turning it. Okay, paint's starting to bubble. Alright, let's leave it at that, because it's an epoxy. And I'm going to use my air hammer, just like on the other side. Now you could quench it, cool it, and do it again. But let's try this first. It's still a bit of a problem, so it needs a little bit more heat. But what we're going to do is we're going to quench it with some water. Give it a minute, let it cool, and we're going to put a little bit more of this in there from both sides. And I'm going to blow it too with compressed air. I'm going to put some from the other side as well. And let this stuff work its way in a little. And then we want to get it off because we don't want it catching fire. So we're going to let it work its way in now that it's warm. Yeah, a little bit better. See, it's smoking. I tried the acetylene first. That didn't do it. Then I had to go to this, right? Oxyacetylene. We're gonna let that cool down, guys. We want to get it cold, right? So we don't want to damage the seal. All right. Make sure you get this area cool, right? Because there is a seal in that. So just start quenching it. You want to heat the outside, and you can see there, right? Well, it's damaged the paint, but that's okay. Let's get this cool, right? We don't want that seal to be damaged. It'll take some heat, but not all of it. Let's start off with the wire wheel. And we'll probably, with this much, there's rust and stuff on here, we're probably going to need to finish up with some emery. But we'll start here. Let me get some emery. Alright, we're just going to have to sit here for a little bit, make yourself comfortable. Just kind of soak the paper up a little. Make a bit of a mess. Might have to start with a fresh piece, so we'll start with this older piece and use it up. Yeah, it's bad. And we can also use a cookie. And maybe we'll do that too. Alright. We might want to start off with a cookie. Yeah, let me go get that, because it's pretty bad. And then we'll finish up with some emery on it. Otherwise that rim's just going to get stuck right back on there again. You'll never get it on. It's this tool. Okay. I'm just going to find a spot and just keep rotating. This is like abrasive, but it's not like a carbide disc or the more abrasive, you know, sanding, grinding pads with the aluminum oxides. And so I'll work it for a little bit, then I'll finish up by just like burnishing it up with this stuff here and with the paper, clean it off good. I already put some lubricant in there. We'll do that again too with chain wax. I'll be back in a minute. Here's what the shaft looks like. I'm going to spray it up with a little bit of lube. We'll chain wax, and then we're just going to do a test fit.
A few moments later.
That key's jammed in there. Probably not going to cooperate, and there's a little bit of damage here. We're going to file that. We want to run a cartridge roll on that, and I'll show you when we get that far. Hold on. Like I said, I tried driving that key out, and it didn't want to go. It's fighting me. Alright, so we're going to run the wire wheel around that. We'll get all this cleaned up. I broke the bead, so hopefully I got to reseat that. So we're going to take care of this, and I'll show you the cartridge roll as one of the last steps. Alright, I got the key out, but we're going to have to run this on the wire wheel and make sure it fits good. Because it's just, everything is just locked up. It's just rust. So, here's the mandrel, which is on, goes on a drill, or I put it on a die grinder too. And I'm just going to run this in there. It's just an older coarse grit cartridge roll. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just running that in and out, trying to remove the rust. We'll have to blow it, and then we'll put some lubricant. And then when I'm done with this, we'll make sure it's rinsed out with some lubricant. And then when I'm done with it, right, we'll test fit it. And I'll bring you over there in a minute. So let me just work a little bit longer, and hopefully we can get everything cleaned up nice. I broke the bead, but we should be able to get it back together again. I got lube on it. Let's do a test fit. It should go right on now. So I get the chain lube inside the bearing and seal area too. Alright, let's see. So far so good, feels good. Almost. Probably need a little bit more lubricant. Yep, that's it, we got it. Alright, just needs a little bit more lube. Now, big difference. Alright, I gotta do the other side too, but I'm gonna get this wheel cleaned up and painted first. And I'll pull off a little bit of that because that's rust. Put some more lube on that and let that set up. And we'll clean this out a little bit more. Alright, I'll be back. I'm going to go work on this. So just going to use the wire wheel and stuff. And I think I have some epoxy paint. Let's clean up real good. Let's get some paint on it. Alright, and then I'll set it aside. And I'm going to do both sides. And then I'm going to take a quick look at this guy, because we're just going to do a little painting and servicing tonight. We'll clean this one up as well. Well, it doesn't look like it needs any paint, but you're going to need to clean in there. And we'll get these cleaned up, get them aired up and whatever, and put them to the side because we still have some more work to do back on that. Alright, so we're almost done. So I put some of my chain wax into this bearing seal area. But we also want to there's a few other spots. Here's a spot. Okay, for your shifter. Alright, get that. And up in here, now you're not going to be able to see it, but let me take the camera off. In here, there's two pistons, and you'll see the pistons are up in here, and you'll see that in a minute when I show you when I move it. So we want to get all of this good, and this heim joint. Now there's another heim joint up top, so I already got that. And so what happens is when the clutch pedal moves back and forth, all right, those pistons go in and out, and that's basically what they ride in the aluminum of the housing, and they get stuck. So you want to lube that. So that's what we just did there. And I'll show you in a minute what goes on. And now over on this side, we want to get this in there. All right, let it soak in. And here's the other side of that whole pivot shaft. All right, we'll get that. Sorry for the camera work, but there's nothing we can do about it here. I'm in a really weird position, so I can't hold the camera steady. But any area that moves is what you're looking for. I think that there's a spot we can get to for this guy in here. In the spring. What's nice about this is it goes on like, and I keep saying it, but it goes on like a liquid and dries to a wax like a grease. So, all right, so that's it for this. See that? See those pistons there? That's why we're doing it. And so when you hit your clutch, they go back and forth, and they need some lubrication, otherwise they're going to get jammed up. Now, these steel pieces here, that's where your disc brake is, up in there. So you don't have to worry about, don't get anything in there. On this model, right? The other models, you can see the disc. It's more exposed. All right, that's it for here, guys. Let's put the tires back on. Let's get some grease on the shafts. We got the washer, the spacer, the washer. These are the two smaller ones, and the key. Blow a little bit of chain wax on that, and that'll keep it from rusting again. Get some on here, right, so that the key is good. And so I lubed it with just regular good bearing grease first. Put that on, and now we'll put the tire on, and I'll do the other side. This way I have I can rotate the shaft without, you know, getting grease all on my fingers. So we'll put this one on, this tire on, and we'll go to the other side. 10 psi in these big tires. All right, we're getting ready to put the tire and rim on. This is dried from yesterday. And yes, you could put another coat on. That's on the inside. You're not going to see it. I touched up the front a little bit. All right, let's put it on. That's good enough. Yes, it could be better, but you know, no. Because nothing is perfect on this machine. I don't want to make it that way. And I know you guys know me, that some of you guys that know me, you know, all right, Chuck, we're not making it perfect, because you don't always need to do that. It's not a good idea. This I sprayed. Yeah, let's put a little bit of light on. Got it black. It's wiped down. Got a couple more things to do. Actually, there's a fan that came in. I'll show you that. We'll put it down on all fours. And we're going to blow. We're going to mount the bonnet and the lights, which is over here. And we'll mount that. We've got to wipe that off. And the fan, hopefully this is easy to put on. This is the fan for the transmission. All right, hopefully. Hopefully it's the right one. I mean, I ordered what was supposed to be there. And the broken spring that I showed you, which, let me take another look. Nope, you can't see it now. I thought I showed you, maybe I didn't. They don't sell it anymore, so that's that. All right, we'll be back. As you see, the C-clip, or E-clip, really, it's on correctly now. And because I like it when that center tang goes into the keyway on the axle, because if you don't, it's not fully seated and it can work its way off. So that's how I like to put these type of clips. I call them E-clips because they really are more like an E-clip than a C-clip. All right, we got to pull that nut off. Look, there's like one fan blade left, and we had a replacement. So that's that. All right, we got to get that on. Lines up with something, I think. Yeah, I don't think it lines up with anything. All right, let's just put the washer on and the nut, and we're done. So see you guys in a bit. Yeah, they.